It's a complicated thing, running a town. 1 minute, everything can be going just fine. And the next, you're knee-deep in unhappy villagers. I know why you're here. You'd like to learn about estates. Because, although foundation may seem simple, there's a hidden depth to it that you can't quite put your finger on. Let me help. This is Foundation, and I'm Lord Bara. Let's start at the beginning. There are 3 estates, and this building here represents the Labour estate. But there's no easy way to say it. Estates can be quite complicated, so they'll take a little bit of getting used to. This is the progression screen, and it shows you all of the estates. Common Path, Labour, Kingdom, Clergy. They're all here. Yes, the Common Path isn't technically an estate, and everything that's in that tree can be bought with hard-earned gold, which you can see up on the top bar, along with your prosperity, which is simply a sum of all the other numbers across the top. Estates are managed with Splendor and Influence. The pop-ups do a good job of explaining what they mean. You can think about them a little bit like gold. They're just another form of currency that you use to buy these upgrades. I'll talk a little bit more about it later on. I know, it seems a lot, but just remember this. You're the lord, or lady. It's your town, which means that you can do all of this, or none of it. It's entirely up to you. For now, let's just get back to the manor. I've built 2 parts to this manor house. A tax collector and a watch post. If you want to see what functions that you've built, click here and you'll be able to see them. Tax office, watch post. And this is an overview of everyone working here. This is your hiring and firing page. And this takes you to the build menu. Now, there are 3 parts to the build menu. The big panel in the middle holds all of the build pieces that you unlock in the progression tab. There's a lot. Don't worry, you can organise them with these little buttons right here. The panel on the left is the overview, and the panel on the right is your requirements tab. Pay attention, a building can't be built unless you meet its requirements. In this case, it needed a room, a door, and a tower, which gave me room for 3 tax collectors. Here's a neat feature. If I'd built the tax office, but then changed my mind and wanted a treasury instead, I can simply change its function here. And finally, if you want to add a new function, click the little white arrow just at the bottom. There, that just about covers the basics, I think. Now, you may have noticed that I wasn't able to build the bailiff office. And the reason for that is, in Baraberg, there are 2 manor houses. That's right. Let me show you what I mean. Here's the manor house in the valley. And if I show you the functions, it has a bailiff office, a treasury, and a great hall. Now, if you're anything like me, that could get a little bit confusing, so why don't I rename them? Hilltop Manor and Valley Manor. There we go. And as you can see, because these manors have different functions, I've got a different set of options in both. Are you still with me? Okay, let's look at a different estate. The clergy estate consists of a church and a monastery. And as you can see, the monastery has a lot of parts. But I'm not going to go into what they all do. Instead, let's just look at how we can increase our splendor with this estate. Remember, Splendor is the currency we use to unlock new estate parts. Here it says I have 126 Splendor. Well, that's interesting because here it only says 68. Don't worry, you haven't lost your mind. Come with me and I'll show you where the missing Splendor is. Here's the church in the village. Remember that the church and the monastery are both part of the clergy estate. And as you can see, here's the other 58. So if we nip back over to the monastery, not that we need to do this, but we can double check. And yes, some simple arithmetic tells us that it's correct. I'm not telling you this because I doubt your abilities. You see, the Labour estate isn't just the manor house, it also includes the tavern and the markets. Now that that's out of the way with, let's add a part to this monastery and increase its total amount of Splendor, which is currently at 126. Go to the Edit Building menu and select a part with the Splendor symbol. They're in the bottom right hand corner of the build part. Each estate has its own colour. In this case, for the clergy, it's blue. I'm going to put down a couple of crosses, which are each worth 1 Splendor, for a grand total of 2 Splendor. That's 1. And that's 2. You can do it faster than me. But there you go, 128. And it's as simple as that. So now you can get to unlocking all of those estate parts and build that town or city you always dreamed of. Well, that's all I've got time for. But I hope you found it useful. If you did, leave a like. This has been Foundation, and I have been Lord Bara.